Some pretty ugly weather heading our way over the next 24 hours or so. Some strong winds, some heavy rain, and we're especially concerned about wintry weather. The likelihood of snow in places and ice from freezing rain. We have 2 amber warnings in force through Saturday night and into Sunday morning. What's going on? Well, there's been a battleground throughout the week, and finally these weather fronts are coming in from the west, bringing moisture and hitting the cold air that's been sitting across us, and that combination is going to bring snow and ice, along with, in places, heavy rain and strong winds. We'll start to see the wet and windy weather across Northern Ireland, western fringes of England, Wales and Scotland overnight. And actually in Scotland we will start to see a little bit of snow through the early hours. A few showers in the east, but mostly here it's dry, it's clear and it's frosty. Perhaps not quite as cold as last night, but still many towns and cities down close to freezing, and in rural areas will be well below. We're well above in the west because of the wet and the windy weather, and that could cause some problems through Saturday. We do in fact have warnings in force for the wet and windy weather across these western areas. Heavy rain and strong winds, particularly so in the southwest of England. Very windy conditions here. That could cause some travel disruption. Elsewhere, Saturday morning, largely dry, some sunshine across the east. Frost will slowly clear away, but the cloud will steadily thicken and increase, and then the wet weather moves in, hitting that colder air. It is likely to turn to sleet for a time, maybe some snow, and certainly over the hills as it bumps in we will see some heavy snow, and then we've got that risk of freezing rain because temperatures are going to struggle in the southwest, well, into the teens here, but not feeling all that pleasant because of the wind and the rain. But elsewhere we've got cold air still in place, and as I said, that is what is likely to cause some problems. Snowfall getting heavier and heavier across the higher parts through central and northern Scotland, but even across northern England, southern Scotland on the hills there could be some snow. But a greater risk here is for the snow to turn to rain, and then that rain, as it hits the ground, freezing instantly and causing very icy conditions. That is what this ice amber warning is in force for across central, southern Scotland, down across much of northern England into parts of the Midlands. We have a wider yellow warning in force covering areas a little bit further south, but it's the ice in this area, in particular roads like the M62, the A1M, the M6, the M74, parts of the M8. And then north of the central belt we have an amber warning for snow. Heavy snowfall likely here, 10 to 20 centimetres of snow on some of the higher routes, maybe more than that across the peaks. So roads like the M9 will be pretty treacherous. Very hazardous driving conditions. Expect travel disruption. This is Saturday afternoon through into the evening. If you're heading out on Saturday, just be aware that the conditions on the roads will be very unpleasant indeed, particularly that snow warning because of the winds. That means blizzards are expected. It could cause some problems to power lines, and there's the potential for some small communities to get cut off. So some severe weather which will continue and be combined with those strong winds into the evening. More snow to come for a time across the bulk of central Scotland and further north, before it all gradually starts to ease down through the early hours of Sunday morning, although it does stay wet and windy across the Northern Isles. Elsewhere it will turn drier and clearer, and again it could turn a bit icy, but overall Sunday's a big improvement, certainly for many central and eastern parts. It's a dry and a bright day with some sunshine. In the west though, you'll notice more wet weather will start to come in here, and the winds could start to pick up once more. Again, temperatures will be a little bit higher than Saturday's. It'll feel a bit milder perhaps, although temperatures in the southwest will be a little bit further down. But generally elsewhere it is at least turning a little bit milder. Before we get to Sunday though, some potentially really nasty weather over the next day or so. Please keep up to date with the warnings. We're constantly monitoring what's going on in the atmosphere, so those warnings may get tweaked, may get changed. You can view them, the very latest, on the Met Office website, or there's always more if you follow us on social media.